afternoon and welcome to RMU Live. Today is Monday, November 8th. I'm Sam Dutch.
And I'm Kaylee Whitlatch. Here's what's happening now.
State police are searching for a man they believe could be at special risk of harm or injury. 48-year-old Joseph Peluso was last seen on Saturday around 8 p.m. around 11th Street in Pittsburgh. He is described as 5'3", 130 pounds with brown hair and hazel eyes and was last seen carrying a red backpack. Anyone with information is asked to call 911 or PA State Police Uniontown Barracks.
Police are investigating after a teenager was shot in Pittsburgh's Hill District. Around 11:30 Sunday morning, police were dispatched to Webster Avenue, where they tended to the 14-year-old boy who had been shot in the leg until paramedics arrived. He was taken to a nearby hospital where he was last listed in stable condition.
A pair of overnight shootings occurred in Swissvale, one of which killed a 23-year-old man. Around 1 a.m. Sunday morning, a man was found shot in the lower torso at Smokywood Drive and was identified later as Viviaron Roberts. A few minutes later, another call came where a 22-year-old man was found shot in the stomach. Detectives are working to figure out if the two shootings are related.
A man was found dead in McKeesport Friday afternoon. Allegheny County Police said the man's body was in a home along Grover Avenue. Detectives were called to investigate the circumstances surrounding the death. Anyone with information is asked to call the county police tip line.
A Pittsburgh store was robbed at gunpoint Saturday night. The robbery occurred at the Family Dollar store in the 1200 block of Chartiers Avenue around 10 p.m. A man wearing a mask came up to the counter, showed a gun, and took an undisclosed amount of cash from the register before running off toward a wooded area. Nobody was injured. Numerous Mount Lebanon residents had things stolen from their cars, and one car itself was stolen overnight. Suspects entered vehicles and stole items from each vehicle as they were unlocked. Police are asking residents to check their security cameras and send any footage that they believe could help in the investigation.
Police arrested a man in the south side of Pittsburgh early Saturday morning after he punched an officer in the face. Ithiel Horton became angry after his car was towed on the 1700 block of East Carson Street. Horton is listed as a redshirt junior guard for the University of Pittsburgh basketball team. Pitt Athletics is aware of the report but declined comment until further information is gathered. The RMU Celebrity Hockey Game took place at the UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex to raise funds to save the RMU hockey programs. Some of the stars in attendance were former Steelers defensive end Brett Kiesel, former Penguins players Colby Armstrong and Phil Bork, and Pittsburgh Mayor Bill Peduto. All proceeds from the event supported the RMU Hockey is the Goal fundraising campaign. While former Pittsburgh Steeler Brett Kiesel battled for the return of the RMU Hockey over the weekend, the Colonial football team was fighting Kennesaw State.
Let's send it over to Sam Goldberg to tell us how they did. Sam?
Thanks, guys. Well, as they alluded to, the football team was in a tough competition. And speaking of tough competition, there was a tough slate of action this weekend. We had playoff action, the conference football game between Kennesaw State, and some big news happening with the volleyball team. Let's break it all down. First, the men's soccer team traveled to Milwaukee to take on the Panthers in the first round of the Horizon League tournament, The first half, it was back and forth action as shots from both sides were close to scoring, but no one could put it in the net. However, the second half was a heartbreaker for the Colonials as Milwaukee scored in the 86th minute of the game to take a late 1-0 lead. The Colonials failed to score after and ultimately would be eliminated from the playoffs by a score of 1-0. Overall, it was a good season for the men's squad as they made the playoffs for the first time since 2017. They will look to make a deeper run next season. In more RMU news, head coach of the volleyball team, Dale Starr, was abruptly let go last week on Thursday, just weeks before senior night. This came out of nowhere from the team. And the Colonials, well, they are 9-18 and 2-13 in conference play. So kind of abrupt ending to Dale Starr's career here. I don't know, maybe there's more. We'll find out as more information is dropped. And speaking of the Colonials, they've also dropped 9 straight as well. And finally, the football team looked to put their perfect home record on the line against the ranked Kennesaw State. However, the triple option got the best of the Colonials as they would fall to Kennesaw State by a final score of 45-21. Overall, for quarterback George Martin, it was a great day for him as he went 25-35 for 293 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Running back Elijah Jackson had 20 carries for 91 yards and a touchdown as well. And the Colonials will try to shake it off and go to my home state, New Jersey, and take on Monmouth. And finally, both men's and women's basketball will kick off their seasons this week. The women's tomorrow and the men's on Wednesday. That's all for me. Let's send it right back to the desk. Guys, what do you got for us?
Thanks, Sam. This Saturday, RMU Admissions is hosting a Fall Discovery Day for high school and transfer students. The event will be at the UPMC Event Center starting at 9 a.m. Prospective students will meet with faculty, staff, and current students and participate in an academic and activity fair. Robert Morris University has been ranked as one of the most military-friendly schools within the country. With Veterans Day just around the corner, Hope Beatty spoke with several military members about the significance of the holiday.
On November 11th, we as a country come together to honor those who have selflessly sacrificed their safety for ours. Robert Morris University takes pride in assisting those individuals during and after their service. I had the privilege of sitting down with a few current and former RMU military members.
So I joined the Marine Corps, when I originally had a contract to go into the Navy as a nuclear engineer. And I signed that contract between my junior and senior year of high school. I just always had a sense that going into military is what I needed to do. I basically played one game growing up, and that was war. I slept with two things, a teddy bear and a plastic machine gun, so it seemed to be my destiny.
Current Robert Morris University student Robert Thistlethwaite shares what Veterans Day means to him.
To me, Veterans Day is a brief moment in our year where we can honor those that served before us and those currently serving us. And I definitely don't want to speak on behalf of all veterans, but in my specific case, just when I put that uniform on, it's a proud moment, and I know a lot of other veterans feel that proud moment. So if you're ever out and about and you see a veteran, there's no need to say thank you or to give condolences or congratulations, whatever it may be. Just be glad and be thankful that you live where you are, and that's enough for any veteran. So just by living an everyday life, that's what Veterans Day for most veterans is.
Abrielle McCartney also spoke on what Veterans Day means to her, saying, quote, "Veterans Day to me represents honor, hope, sacrifice, and freedom. The remembrance of both loved ones and lost ones. Veterans Day is a day to thank our fellow brothers and sisters for having our six." End quote. Veterans Day is a day to honor all who have served. We may never be able to fully repay you for your sacrifice, but we can say thank you. For RMU Century Media.
Thanks, Hope. The Robert Morris University Center for Veterans and Military Families will be holding a celebration on November 11th to honor service members on campus.
The Women's Leadership and Mentorship Program will be hosting its Fall 2021 Speaker Series at 6:30 p.m. tomorrow, November 9th in Hopwood Hall. It is a TED Talk style student-led event that gives RMU students the opportunity to share their experiences, passion, and unique areas of interest with the public audience. The Center for Global Engagement will host the virtual Rooney Scholars Speaker Series at noon on Thursday, November 11th, featuring Senet Tanvir Wasti, who in 2004 was RMU's first Rooney International Visiting Scholar. You are able to RSVP via Google Forms on rmu.edu or on Revolution. Well, despite the cold weekend, the warmer side of fall was back out today with the sun shining through the trees of campus.
Let's send it over to Jackie Rasta, who's live outside to tell us more about those high temperatures. Jackie?
Thanks, guys. Now you might be wondering, Jackie, where's your green screen? Where's everything else? Well, my lovely producer decided that it was time for me to join the weather and be outside. And don't mind if a ladybug passes by, they're my co-host for today. So let's get into it. Today's weather is a high of 63 and a low of 32. Humidity is going to be at 58%, and there's going to be a 10% chance of rain today. Looking at the hourly forecast for today, 3 p.m. is going to be the same as it is right now, sunny at 62 degrees. 6 p.m. it's going to get dark, sadly, and it's going to be a clear night at 55 degrees. And at 9 p.m. another clear Forecast at 52 degrees. For tomorrow's weather, it's going to be a high of 64 degrees with a low of 39. Humidity is going to be at 60%, and there's going to be another 10% chance of rain. Right now, that's all from me. How about we go back to the desk?
It's looking like a beautiful day. Thanks, Jackie. Coming up after the break, we will tell you about the struggles that the Allegheny Police Department may soon be facing.
And learn how the staff of Mayor Bill Pizzuto is responding to his recent defeat.
Can't high five.
All right.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique.
And your mother
I am totally a hat person. Right, guys? Thanks for being honest. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
Stand is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get...
Welcome back to RMU Live. After nearly 2 years, the United States will be open to vaccinated international travelers today. The U.S. is lifting a pandemic travel ban on international visitors from more than 30 countries who were shut out for 20 months. International visitors will need to show proof of vaccination and a recent negative COVID test, with some exceptions. Port Authority officials say the reopening will make for full flights and long lines. Delta says it has seen a 450% increase in international bookings in the 6 weeks since the reopening was announced. Airlines are still adjusting and continue to bring back employees and airshaft sidelines because of the pandemic.
According to the RMU COVID-19 dashboard, there are 3 students currently in isolation, along with 9 students and 1 employee in quarantine. Individuals in isolation have tested positive for COVID-19, while individuals in quarantine have shown symptoms and are awaiting test results or have been exposed to an infected person.
Despite the easing of travel restrictions and a decrease in the COVID-19 cases, the country is still recovering. Businesses from all across the area are looking for workers after a tough year. Gabriella Rankin spoke with some of your favorite local businesses to learn more about what the impact that the peak of the pandemic had on them. We will show you a brief look at what she learned.
Hello, my name is Gabriella Rankin, and behind the camera is Garrett Pope. We are going out today to interview some local businesses about how COVID has affected not only their workforce, but also the business itself. Let's get started. What is your name?
Annie Madonna.
Yeah, my name is Philip Giggler. Camden McCord.
John Riley.
What is your position?
I am a server at my Cantonis.
My position is notary / just clerk.
Technically, I'd be a full-time sales associate and an assistant manager at another store.
Owner.
How long have you been working here?
I've been working here since the middle of April, so I kind of started during all of this COVID stuff. I haven't really gotten a good chance to see what it's like before that.
Since January of, what year are we in? 2021.
Over a year, almost 2 years. 2 years and like 4 months. Yeah, literally like a couple weeks before COVID started.
2 years.
How many employees are there currently?
I don't really know. I'm gonna just guesstimate like 10 that are here frequently, a few shifts a week maybe.
Currently, we are down to 1, 2, 3, 4, including the manager.
At this store, there are 3 other employees other than myself, so 4 of us.
We've got 7 employees right now at this location.
How many employees would be considered a full staff?
So that's a loaded question just because it's so different from what it used to look like, from what it looks like now. If we were fully staffed, everything was open back up, they'd have 5 servers, maybe 6, a host or 2, a bagger, a couple bartenders. So, I mean, a pretty good handful of people, and we're down to per shift like 3, 2, 4.
I think the manager plus 4 staff would be good, but coming to holiday season, a 5th would not be bad at all, considering we usually double all of our sales for the entire year.
A full staff probably would maybe 4 or 5. So.
Solid 10. No, people are in and out, in and out. Downtown location, I think we have 9 down there right now, and we should have, for a full staff, about 16.
Thanks, Gabriella. To get the full story on how Moon Township businesses have changed within the COVID-19 pandemic, visit RMU-CenturyMedia.com.
Fresh off his major victory in Congress for the bipartisan infrastructure deal, President Joe Biden will be taking a victory lap this week. On Wednesday, the president will travel to Maryland to visit the Port of Baltimore to explain how his deal will upgrade the nation's ports. Biden's visit comes as Southern California ports are struggling with the backlog of shipping that is disrupting the U.S. supply chain. The $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure legislation also includes funds for roads, bridges, power grids, and broadband internet. Biden will also use his appearance in Baltimore to campaign for another huge piece of legislation, his $2 trillion Build Back Better plan. But that separate human infrastructure, social safety net, and climate change bill is facing stiff opposition from Republicans and even more from moderate Democrats.
Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf said his mail-in ballot for last Tuesday's election was dropped off by his wife. However, state law says that voters must deliver mail-in or absentee ballots in person themselves if they do not mail them. The governor's representative, Beth Rementer, called the situation, quote, an honest mistake, end quote. As Pittsburgh Mayor Bill Pizzuto prepares to leave office in January, 3 of his community affairs staff members announced that they are leaving their posts for new positions. Janelle Bettensis started her new position at the Department of Public Works last Monday. Leah Friedman will work for the Department of City Planning, and Hirsch Murenstein will work for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Western Pennsylvania.
Charles Moffitt, the former superintendent of Allegheny County Police Department, has died yesterday. He retired in 2016 and has worked in law enforcement for nearly 50 years. Prior to serving with the Allegheny County Police, Moffitt served as deputy chief with the Pittsburgh Police. Since retiring, he has spent time with his family, including his children and grandchildren. Hundreds of Pittsburgh police officers are considering retiring and leaving the job. 257 are eligible to retire, and that's without mentioning all the others, including younger officers who understand that they have other options. The city's vaccine mandate is also playing a role. According to the FOP president, there will soon be a policing crisis in Pittsburgh. Coming up after the break, a former Pittsburgh Steeler has been in trouble with police.
We will tell you who it was and what they did after the break.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? And now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Jason, let's go see your room.
That's not right. How was it? Is it good?
Welcome back to RMU Live. Former Steelers wide receivers Lewis Lips Jr. was arrested Saturday night for the suspicion of driving under the influence. Police say his truck crashed into a trailer in front of a home on Ruth Street in Mount Washington. This comes before Lips is set to be inducted into the Steelers Hall of Honor next weekend before the game against the Detroit Lions. While Lewis Lips Jr. was in trouble with the police, Steelers fans are hoping that the Chicago Bears will be in trouble at Heinz Field tonight.
Let's send it over to Sam Goldberg to tell us what we could expect from tonight's game. Sam?
Thanks, guys. Before we touch on the Steeler game, let's talk about the local. Let's talk about the Pitt football team first. So obviously, Pitt football is back in the top 25 as they had a dominating performance on the road at Duke, where they were able to crush Duke by a final score of 54-29. Pitt football now finds themselves at number 25 in the country after the dominating win against Duke. Quarterback Kenny Pickett had another statement game in why he should be the Heisman winner. He went 28 of 43 for 416 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also had 8 rushing attempts for 57 yards and a rushing touchdown as well. Jordan Addison had another beast of a game, collecting 7 catches for 171 yards and a touchdown. The nationally ranked Panthers will play this Thursday against University of North Carolina. The Pens were in action again as they had 2 games this week. First, the Pens played the Flyers of Philadelphia, and the Pens would become winners in OT after a short review deemed that Jake Gensel's goal just got by the pads of Carter Hart to win the game in OT. Speaking of OT, the Pens would play the Wild as well. In that game was a score fest. Kasperi Kapanen had himself a game as he would record a hat trick in the contest. The game would go to overtime and no winner was declared, so they went into a shootout in which the Pens would come out on top in the shootout by a score of 3-2. The Pens would win the game 5-4. And finally, the Steelers will face the Chicago Bears tonight at 8:15. The Steelers have played some great defense over the course of the last couple of games, and they will look to contain the Justin Fields-led offense and pick up the win. The Steelers have not lost a Monday Night Football game since 1991. That's all from me, guys. Let's send it back to the desk.
Thanks, Sam. A 21-year-old college student was among the 8 people who died at Houston's Astroworld Festival on Friday. Sunday, the University of Dayton confirmed that Franco Patino died after a deadly crowd surge that also left dozens of people injured. Some 50,000 people attended the sold-out festival, which was headlined and organized by rapper Travis Scott. Some concertgoers say the event was so tightly packed that when audience members were pushed toward the stage, they were crushed by the point where they couldn't breathe and passed out. Also, other people say someone was injecting attendees with drugs that include a security guard who was revived with Narcan. The ages of the victims who died range from 14 to 27. Authorities are now looking at video, talking to witnesses and event organizers to figure out what happened. Scott posted on his Instagram account story that he's sending out prayers to the lives lost, adding that he's been working with Houston authorities. Coming up after the break, Jackie Rasta will give us a full look at this week's weather.
And we will tell you might be having trouble breathing today. Stay tuned.
Desert Sea Race. Love is love.
What are you doing in there?
What's that?
I wouldn't do that. What are you doing? What are you looking for?
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes.
Make a plan today.
Welcome back to RMU Live. The PA Department of Environmental Protection has declared today Code Orange Air Quality Action Day. A strong temperature inversion will bring unhealthy levels of air pollution in parts of western Pennsylvania. When a code orange is declared, young children, the elderly, and those with respiratory problems should limit outdoor activities.
Pittsburgh is set to host a global climate and energy meeting next year. The city will be hosting the 2022 Clean Energy Ministerial and the Ministerial for Mission Innovation next September. These meetings will bring 31 countries together in Pittsburgh. The federal government chose Pittsburgh due to the city's commitment to reinvent itself to focus on sustainability, technology, research, and development, moving on from its industrial past.
Speaking of the climate and the air quality, let's send it over to Jackie Rosso to tell us what we can expect outside this week.
Jackie, what do you have for us?
Thanks, guys. Let's take another look at today's weather. Today is going to be a high of 63 degrees with a low of 32. Today is going to be at 58% humidity and 10% chance of rain. Tomorrow is going to be a high of 64 degrees and a low of 39. Humidity is going to be at 60% and there's only going to be a 10% chance of rain. Looking at the weekly weather, Wednesday and Thursday are going to be very nice, just like today, with Wednesday being a high of 59 degrees and a low of 44 degrees. Thursday being a high of 65 degrees and a low of 45 degrees. To enjoy this weather, guys, please get outside. Please just stand in the sun and photosynthesize for me, because I know I'm going to be studying this week. So please do that for me. Friday is going to be rainy, so the nice weather is not going to last. That is going to be a high of 57 degrees and a low of 45 degrees. Saturday is going to be the same thing with rain. Hopefully it's a bit lighter. The high is going to be 47 degrees and the low is going to be 35 degrees. Sunday is going to save us a little bit, more clouds than sun, but it's going to be at a high of 41 degrees and a low of 33 degrees. That's all for weather, guys. I hope you have an amazing week, and let's go back to the desk.
Thanks, Jackie. So it's looking like it's going to be a beautiful couple of days
beautiful.
here.
The sun's shining. It's so nice out there. And yeah, we'll be sure. Let's try to photosynthesize this week.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Get some vitamin D in us.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Just want to correct something from earlier. Our dear friend Sam Goldberg got the facts wrong about the Pens game on Saturday against the Wild. The Wild did unfortunately beat us 5-4.
Yeah.
I was at the game actually.
Oh,
it was a lot of fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Was it good there? Good environment?
It was very good.
Yeah.
It was a very close game, but Captain ended with a hat trick. That was amazing. That was his first three goals as a Pens player.
Wow.
And it was just incredible. People were throwing their hats onto the
have a good hat trick.
It was so funny. I wonder if they were able to get the hats back. They probably did.
Probably. Maybe.
If they didn't, that's kind of worth it.
Yeah, well, that's all we have here at RMU Live. For Jackie Rasta and Sam Goldberg, I'm Sam Dutch.
And I'm Kaylee Whitlatch. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.